referees would know the rule. I mean, that to me is pretty darn amazing that they do not. So we'll keep our eye on that. While we're talking high school, I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's hard to see because the best view is on Southern Avenue, and I don't know how many people drive down Southern Avenue. But behind where the new event center is, the Memphis Sports Event Center, there is a turf field. The city built this turf field, it turns out. They built it for the showboats, for the UFL entity here. Well, the UFL's not here. I don't know if the Sports Event Center is using it because I saw yesterday. First of all, it's a state-of-the-art field. You know, those turf fields cost $500,000 to $700,000, $800,000. You got to level it. You got to put the turf in. It's the newest turf. It is absolutely gorgeous. So they had soccer goals right in front of each of the goalposts. By the way, the goalposts are the NFL type of goalposts. The back of the end zone and curve. It's really a state-of-the-art place. Now, you know that they have to play games on Thursday and on Saturday because there's not enough stadiums to go around, and officials, too. They got an officials problem. But there used to be a good best lights. When I was doing a high school football game of the week on TV, the best lights were at the Fairground Stadium. Well, that no longer exists. It's going to be supposedly an entertainment district. Hotels, bars, restaurants, all tied in with the event center and Liberty and Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Well, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Honestly, we'll see. But in the meantime, that stadium's gone. This would be the best playing field of any high school stadium. You look at Halley, unless you're going to MUS or Briarcrest, where they already have turf fields. This field, it's the newest. It's the latest. It's the greatest. Why? And there's parking at the event center that's right there. So easy. Why hasn't the city just said, you know what, we ought to start playing high school games there? Put stands on both sides. I don't think it would be that much money. Just bleachers. And start playing some high school games there. Now, you'd probably have to play them in the day because I don't think there's lights. But if you play, when I was in high school, we played high school football games right after school at 3 o'clock. I don't know why you couldn't do that. That way, actually, officials could, if you're shortage of officials, you could actually do 2 games. I don't think high school rough would care about that. If it was in the neighborhood, play there, then go to Crump. Hey, just a thought. You got this beautiful state-of-the-art field. Doesn't have lights, though, but it's gorgeous. It should be utilized. I don't know if the event center is using that for soccer games, if they bring teams in for soccer competition, but it's only one field.
So actually, Brian has told me that they have a flag football and a soccer league down at the event center.
So they're using that field for that?
I think so.
It would seem to me that could be used for high school games because it's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is really, and the city paid for it. I mean, they built it for the UFL. Obviously, the showboats are no longer here. So let's use it more often because it's perfect. It really is. All right. I sit here in the Family Leisure studio, and I told you this was coming. I just didn't know when. The world's biggest spa sale has commenced. Spas start at under $3,000. Spas, the swim spas, those are the big ones. They're up to 30% off. Floor model specials as well. Cold plunges, the newest thing. They started under $5,000. Got ice in them and all this other newest thing. You know, you take a sauna, you dip into a cold plunge. System gets shocked in a good way. All the stars are doing it. They started under $5,000. Also, you're still getting the free umbrella with a purchase of select patio furniture sets. Swimming pools, clearance price now through the end of October. Buy now and save with this price increase. Just head on over to the world's biggest spa sale now at Family Leisure. We have seen the clock change all of a sudden it's a different time.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning.
I drove by that event center on the way here. I drive by it all the time. I live in beautiful crime-free Cooper Young, and so I drive on Southern constantly. And I think the issue with putting stands on either side of that football field is there's already stuff on either side of that football field. There's
one bleacher already that's there.
Right,
You
but
could just increase that.
You would be eating into the two things that are on either side of that football field, but fine, I don't care one way or the other. It is a nice football field, and I've very rarely ever seen anybody actually playing football on it. And I drive by it all the time. We're very excited about the Cooper Young Festival coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Please come join us in beautiful Cooper Young for the festival. All right, as mentioned last Wednesday, I mentioned that the rapper Drake had put $300,000 down on Sinner to win the U.S. Open. Drake was already $115,000 in the hole betting on tennis. He is now $415,000 in the hole betting on tennis.
Am I wrong? But I think he can afford that, right?
I'm sure he can. I mean, he's won, 5 Grammys? He's had like 13 number one records. I mean, he's got plenty of money. And, he's got the big beef with Kendrick Lamar. And I know we all spend a lot of energy worrying about that. But, he can, yeah. He can,
I haven't spent any
He probably
energy
wears
on
that much in jewelry, but he still is terrible at betting at tennis. And I've never seen anything else about anything else he's bet on. I'm sure he bets on all kinds of things, but for some reason, this gets reported when Drake makes a big bet on tennis, and it's always for Sinner to win, and he's always wrong. So he's terrible at betting on tennis. He is the kiss of death. Where Drake bets on tennis, go the other way.
So, wait. If he always bets on Sinner, he's been doing pretty well. The guy was number one for 65 weeks.
Yeah, but he still manages to bet on him when he doesn't win.
Wow. Well, Alcaraz and he, I said this on Monday, but it's true. In order to have a rivalry, you got to have one side win a few times and the other side win a few times. So the last 8 majors have been played in the finals. The last 2 years, all the majors, the final have been Alcaraz Sinner. You know what their record is?
No.
4-4.
Well, there you go.
Although now Alcaraz total through history is either 10-5 or 11-5 against him.
And Djokovic just straight up said he doesn't think he'll ever be able to beat either one of those guys.
No, what he said was he couldn't beat them in a best of 5. He
Right.
thinks he could still beat them in a best of 3.
Mm.
Listen, he played in every semifinal at the age of 38. Why would you give it up then? If you
Well, he's
love
not
it,
giving
you're
up.
making a ton of money.
Nobody. I don't think he's been talking about hanging it up.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke his own record as
I
the
love
oldest
his
guy to make all the
honesty.
semis.
Hey,
Yeah,
he
he's
said,
great.
I'm too old to play 5 sets.
And let's pump the brakes on the whole Aaron Rodgers is back thing. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers won. The Steelers won over the Jets by 2. This is over the Jets. The Jets are unlikely to equal their own 5-win total of last season. The Jets suck, and the Steelers barely beat them. Aaron Rodgers is not. Look, the Steelers have a very soft schedule for like the first 6 games. But then the last 11 games, it is a steady diet of MVP candidates and championship quality defenses. And the Steelers are going to lose a lot of football. It's going to be really misleading when the Steelers are 4-2 and people are thinking, wow, okay, Rodgers could do this, but they're not playing anybody. And once they get into the real meat of their schedule, they're going to get killed.
I am so torn. I really want to like the Steelers because you got Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
You got Kenny Gainwell. You got Arthur Smith as their OC. Mike Tomlin was a GA in Memphis. Okay? But Aaron Rodgers. Oh, and then the way he gloated. Oh, well, they thought I was done.
No, I still think you're done, Aaron. Speaking of Kenny Gainwell, he was playing on special teams and caused a crucial fumble.
They did.
By the Jets. And the Jets, by the way, cut that guy today. The guy who had that fumble. It was a surprisingly punitive couple of days in the NFL because the Jets cut Xavier Gibson, who fumbled the kick caused by Kenny Gainwell, and the 49ers straight up cut their kicker, who missed a 29-yarder. They just straight up cut him. So that was a surprisingly punitive couple of days. It's weird to me that people get so bent out of shape about Taylor Swift existing, but they don't mind that Josh Allen also has a pop star girlfriend. Haley Steinfeld is Josh Allen's fiance.
Yeah, they're engaged. But is she a big star?
Yeah, she's
Really?
a big star. Not only is she a movie star, she's also a big pop star. But nobody seems to mind that he has it.
What movie has she been in?
She was in a great movie with Mark Ruffalo.
I like Mark Ruffalo.
Such a good movie where he played a washed-up music producer. She played his daughter. It was Keira Knightley. Anyway, she's been in a bunch of movies.
Oh, I know that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been in a bunch of movies, but she's a big pop star. But nobody seems to mind that. They just have a real sore spot specifically for Taylor Swift.
I've never understood that either, because she seems to be, for a lady worth $1.6 billion,
Yeah.
very level-headed to me.
Well, it was the Bills-Ravens game was a fantastic game.
Oh, what a great
it's
game.
obvious that Josh Allen is. There's a reason why he's MVP, because the 15-point comeback in the fourth quarter was amazing. The Bills,
you know what, though? Both quarterbacks were unbelievable.
Absolutely.
That was just a treasure of a game.
It was a game for the ages. And the kicker, who hit the field goal at the end of the first half and then hit the game winner in the fourth quarter, had been the Bills' kicker for about an hour. When he went out there. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's Matt Prater. He was assigned to the Bills practice squad last week. He was elevated to the starting kicker on game day because Tyler Bass is hurt.
He's got a hip injury, and this guy's 41 years old. He was retired.
He was the oldest player to ever take the field for the Buffalo Bills, ever.
Wow.
41 years and 28 days, and they made him a member of the Buffalo Bills roster today.
Wow.
He got a contract. Matt Prater.
How many games? It can't be a full season.
I think he had a year. Yeah, I think
so Tyler Bass is out?
No, it's up in the air what will happen when Bass returns. But they rewarded him by giving him a contract. But the point is, the kicker that hit crucial field goals for the Bills on Sunday was not on the Bills roster.
He joined him on Friday.
Yeah.
For a late practice. It's an incredible story, because not only did he hit it, but they had no timeouts. So it had to be done, rush onto the field, get set. The holder's got to wait till there's 2 seconds on the clock, because they want this to be the last play of the game. The timing was perfect with a new kicker who'd never kicked it in a game for them ever.
Right.
That's great.
Oldest player to ever take the field for the Buffalo Bills.
That's a great stat.
People are also all worked up about Daniel Jones playing for Indy. One game, I saw a guy yesterday with a straight face on ESPN say Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. And he was dead serious. Like, Daniel Jones did take the Giants to the playoffs once, which is a hell of an accomplishment. And he did play a great game for the Colts against the Dolphins. Any team can beat the Dolphins.
We'll see. That's why you never know
stink.
with first games. You just never know.
I mean, they beat the blowhole out of the Dolphins, but I think the problem with the Dolphins is they have just the players are sick of Mike McDaniel's act.
Could be.
I mean, this happened. How many times have we seen this happen? A guy who comes out and he's like, he wants to be a player's coach. He runs with the team. He does push-ups with the team. He screams at the team, and eventually they just tune him out. Because he's not the authority figure that athletes need. Athletes need a
not
coach.
A player.
Yeah, so I think they're just sick of him, and he's not going to last much longer with the Dolphins. The Giants announced that Russ Wilson will get one more start after stinking it up against the Commanders.
Jackson Dart's going to get that job.
Oh, it's going to happen so soon.
That's an unbelievable story.
Russell Wilson, under pressure in that game, 2 for 12 and sacked twice. He can't move, and he can't do anything. He's done. My Saints lost to the Cardinals, which is, that's about right. We talk about teams that suck in the NFL, like the Browns and the Jets and the Dolphins. Nobody even bothers to mention the Saints. It's like the Saints are such an afterthought at this point in the NFL. People don't even seem to remember that they're in the NFL.
Well, since Sean Payton and Drew Brees,
it's just been terrible.
Nobody looks.
Your Bears, of course.
I knew it was coming. I couldn't. I'm absolutely shocked that it took almost 8 minutes for you to finally bring this up, to stick a knife in my heart.
Well, your Bears did lose to the Vikings when J.J. McCarthy remembered in the second half of the football game how to play football. at the same moment when Caleb Williams forgot how to play football. Caleb was solid in the first half. Second half, the Vikings started blitzing him, and he fell apart.
I don't think Caleb Williams was really ever that solid in the game. Honestly, maybe that
his numbers were good in the
drive,
first half.
His numbers are always good. He misses wide open guys all the time, and then once he makes a couple of mistakes, it just compounds in his head, and he starts missing targets. And I said this on Monday too, because I've had this argument with my son. The Bears drafted the wrong quarterback. They had their choice. They could have had Caleb, or they could have had Jaden Daniels. I don't think Caleb Williams, and maybe this is premature, you can bring it back up on me later, I'll accept it. But I don't ever see Caleb Williams being as good as Jaden Daniels.
No, the knock on Caleb is the same knock that has always been on Aaron Rodgers, is once things start breaking against them, they get emotional and they fall apart. They're very similar in that way. That you could see it in their body language. That when they get frustrated and they start making dumb mistakes, and that's what happened to him. And I think that Jaden Daniels, his pulse rate never changes. He's like Joe Burrow. Yeah. No matter what's happening in the game, he is exactly the same. He could be 21 down. He could be 21 up. He's going to have exactly the same expression on his face, just like Joe Burrow. There was it's an anecdotal story about Joe Burrow, but when he was a kid, there was some kind of a stress test, and the person who was administering it said, well, we hope he's an athlete because otherwise there's a chance he might be a serial killer because his pulse rate does not change. No matter the situation, no matter how stressful, his pulse rate never changes.
So he could definitely fool a lie detector.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, now that you mentioned the Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter will be fined $57,000 for spitting on Dak Prescott, although the league is just ignoring the fact that Dak Prescott spit on him first. What's with all the spit?
He didn't spit on him. He spit on the ground, which he says he does it all the time, which is gross to me. Offensive lineman, he says he spits away from the offensive lineman. Now, that's very kind, but sooner or later you're going to end up on that spit, which to me is as gross as can possibly be.
Carter will not serve a suspension.
Well, he already did.
Because he didn't play in that game.
Yeah.
Because
so that's
all
the
that
new
happened.
precedent. If you spit on somebody, you're out of game.
I was like, what is with all the spitting? Is it Pedro Alamar's birthday? What's happening? Why? That is a really obscure reference. Mm-hmm. I saw a guy asking, and this was a dead straight face, said, with the addition of Micah Parsons, are the Packers the new threat in the NFC? If Micah Parsons being added to a mediocre team immediately elevates that team to a contender, then the Cowboys would have been relevant for the last 4 seasons. But they weren't.
And the Packers are better than the Cowboys.
One additional.
They were. Jordan Love's a good quarterback.
Jordan, I really think the jury's out on Love. I still believe that. And this is just a feel-good story. I'm sure you probably saw it in 2020. Josh Rackett was in the single-A Nationals minor league team, and COVID happened. And COVID, combined with the fact that he had an ERA of almost 9, led him to quit baseball. He just quit. And he went and got his finance degree. He went into the private sector to work in finance, and then proceeded to bitch about it so much that his wife said, you have to quit and get a job that you don't hate, or I'm going to divorce you. So he started coaching a boys' team. He started coaching a boys' baseball team. Then he started throwing the ball a little bit. Felt pretty good about how his arm was working. He ended up working his way to single A, and he just made it to throw a 1-2-3 inning in 8 pitches for the St. Louis Cardinals.
That is a great story. You know, it kind of reminds me of, seriously, how sometimes fiction becomes reality. Wasn't there a movie, Dennis Quaid was the high school teacher
the rookie,
who does the same sort of thing?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was called The Rookie. He, by the way, missed 5 calls from Ben Johnson, the manager of the Redbirds, telling him he'd been called up because he was on a walk with his girlfriend. Carry your phone.
That's funny. Do you carry a phone when you walk?
Yes, I'm never without my phone.
You know why I do it? Simple.
Because
I'm listening to music on it. That's why.
I just can't.
And a phone call would interrupt that. Yeah,
I can't be away from my phone.
How did you exist before this?
As soon as cell phones came available, I started carrying one, and as soon as smartphones came available, I started carrying one. I look at it constantly.
You know how you learn something every day? I did not know this. I always know the seasons change, and I can tell by Dinstals, to be honest with you. When football season starts, it's because we say goodbye to strawberries, we say hello to caramel apples.
That's how you schedule your life, is around Dinstals?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's no question about that. Well, I did not realize that their caramel apples are dipped fresh every Thursday through October. I didn't know when they did that. I didn't know it would be every week you get a new batch. That is amazing. That's why they're so good. And it's apple season. You know that because football's here. You can get the caramel apple. You can get caramel with chocolate. You can get caramel with pecans. How about this? You can get caramel with cashew crunch and chocolate, or you could really go crazy, get the ultimate. That's caramel, pecans, and chocolate. I particularly just like caramel and pecans. That's my thing. But the cashew crunch with it? Or the ultimate here with the chocolate? Oh, my goodness. And it's fresh every Thursday. They dip these caramel apples every Thursday through October at all 5 places. We're talking Collierville, Germantown. We're talking Laurelwood, my neck of the woods. We're talking downtown, and, of course, where they make it on Pleasant View. Caramel apples dipped fresh every Thursday through October at Dinstals. We take the break. When we come back, the business of sports is front and center with the one and only Joe Denk. He comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Marshall Steakhouse is a feast for the eyes as well as the body. Enjoy all American USDA prime steaks, aged 30 days or more, and other delicious meats and sides. Marshall Steakhouse in Holly Springs, named the #1 steakhouse in Mississippi by the Food Network, and named in the top 2 most legendary steakhouses in the South by Southern Living Magazine. Make reservations today and get free bread pudding by calling 662-252-2424 or online at marshallsteakhouse.com. Marshall Steakhouse in Holly Springs, a Southern treat.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
According to the Department of Energy, power outages could increase 10,000% over the next few years. American families are left in the dark for hours, days, or longer. Extended outages like that aren't just inconvenient, they're deadly. That's why My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted preparedness company, created the Grid Doctor 3300, a solar-powered backup generator. It delivers 3,300 watts of power, enough to run almost anything in your home. It's portable, whisper quiet, and safe to use indoors. And right now, when you order a Grid Doctor 3300 at mypatriotsupply.com, you'll get a free expansion battery, which doubles your power capacity absolutely free. Get peace of mind before the next outage hits your home and save over $1,200. But this is a limited time offer, so to get your solar generator and free expansion battery, go to mypatriotsupply.com today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations. Fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. I'd sure love to see you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We talk business with Joe Denk here in a second. He's brought to you by Southern Security. Are you getting the lowest possible rate on your mortgage? At Southern Security, they're going to give you those low rates, flexible terms, no PMI, and the most unbeatable service. It's really outstanding. You can refinance your current mortgage with the Mid-South's best mortgage lender. For more information, 2 ways to do it. Go to southernsecurity.org. That's the modern way, or my kind of way. Call and talk to a human being at 901-452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing lender, proud supporters of the Tigers and 901 Women. Southern Security, that's your home team credit union, the best in the area the last 6 years, and federally insured by NCUA. So we go cross town and speak to our former GM and producer and director of sports on TV. That would be Joe Denk. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, David. Good to be with you.
So, there is a guy named Cody Campbell. He's a billionaire. I think somewhere in Texas. Texas Tech is his connection or something like that. He started this campaign. It was an ad campaign. I think they got a website called Saving College Sports, which needs saving. Tell me, what is this thing all about?
Well, so this is interesting, and this became visible during the first 2 weeks of the college football season. Cody created a self-funded nonprofit organization, and he bought time during the first 2 weeks, at least so far, of Game Day and the Fox Big Noon Show, and also the spots inside the games. And these are advocacy advertising spots with a call to action. And so he appears in these spots, and what he's doing is he's calling that there is a looming crisis in college sports, and it's going to be because, in his words, many of the schools involved in big-time college sports are bleeding red ink, meaning they're losing money. And so he is offering some solutions where he thinks even greater revenues can be generated by through media dollars. But in order to do so, this is the second part of what he's advocating once you go to the website, is he's advocating and lobbying Congress to make changes that will allow for college sports to generate this additional revenue. In fact, on the website, there is an online petition that somebody who visits the site could sign and encourage congressional action. And really what it's about in terms of the action they're requesting is to grant college sports an antitrust exemption so that they are then able to pool all of the schools and all of the resources in the conference and cut a gigantic media deal that he thinks would be significantly more than the current combination of conference deals. And that in his mind, would save college sports. And what he's talking about in terms of saving college sports is to continue to increase dollars for the big schools, but also grant significantly more dollars to some of the smaller conferences and smaller schools. And then they make a significant point on the website to protect women's sports. So it's an interesting play, but it's one that got your attention just because of, first, the nature of the production of the commercials themselves, and then the message. And so if you just watch the 30-second spot, all you are is kind of a little bit, it might get your attention, but it might confuse you more than anything else. But if you do go to the website, savingcollegesports.com, it starts to lay it out, and they really have a three-legged plan to achieve their goals.
So the first call to action is to get an antitrust exemption from Congress. It doesn't point out other rules that Congress might have or appointing a college football commissioner or anything of that nature. It's just that first act in getting that antitrust exemption?
No, that's the primary. That's the starting point of all of it. Because then once you create the one entity, then you can start to do some rulemaking. But so the first phase of their legislative action is to seek antitrust exemption to classify athletes, remaining student athletes, not employees. They want to preempt the state laws. As you know, there are currently 34 separate state laws governing things like NIL, and that makes everything very difficult because how can you have a conference with multiple members from multiple states and each one operating under separate types of legislation? And then the fourth element of what they call their leg one of legislative action is to clarify Title IX, because that has not really been addressed, and there's a lot of questions around what's going to happen to Title IX, particularly in the new era of revenue share.
I'm with you there, because I've always wondered about that. The $20.5 million, if you looked at the, not guidelines, I guess they're called recommendations, if I recall correctly, and that was based on revenue that was brought in that would be shared. That's the $20.5 million cap, okay? 75% to men's football. It was, I believe, 20% to men's basketball and 5% to women's sports or to women's basketball. Those were the only three recommendations, correct?
As I recall, that's correct.
Yeah.
And so that's
a blatant disregard of Title IX, because by all accounts, $10.25 million should go to the women.
Exactly. The second phase, if you will, Dave, they call it leg two, is to, once you have achieved that, the first elements of leg one, then it suggests that you could reestablish rulemaking and enforcement authority, and that there would be the creation of what they're proposing is something called the United States Collegiate Athletic Corporation. And this would be modeled after the Olympic Committee. So, there's one entity that controls college sports. It has rulemaking and enforcement authority, and that would bring it back to potentially leveling the playing field. As you know, right now, people use the term "Wild Wild West" all of the time, and it's kind of because it is. And the NCAA, frankly, has all but abandoned its rulemaking and enforcement authority because they've been defeated in the courts so often. And most of those lawsuits that went against the NCAA were the result of, at their basis, was antitrust issues. So who knows where this goes? This is one guy. He played at Texas Tech, as you mentioned. He's a billionaire. Now he's connected politically. He's connected to the Trump administration and his vice president, who has contemplated some executive orders on this matter. And the executive director of this organization that they have formed is a guy who was a legislative assistant to Senator Cruz of Texas. And Senator Cruz has been active in this space along with Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey.
I don't know if it's on the website or where you find this, or even if you know it. But, he talked about protection of the smaller schools, the conferences that might be like the American or the Great Conference USA or the Sun Belt, and also of women's sports. What are the calls to action to do that? How are they going to get more money out of this? We know exactly how the Power Four will. How is he protecting through this act those smaller schools and women's sports?
Well, it's the formation of this corporation, not unlike the Olympic Committee, that would enforce rules. I mean, they would make rules and enforce them. Here's an example of this could simply be look no further than the NFL. The NFL has 32 members, right? There are 2 teams in New York City. There is 1 team in Green Bay, Wisconsin, okay? Mm-hmm. Each of those 3 teams shares equally in the revenue that the league is able to generate through its sale of media rights and other types of sponsorship.
All right,
right?
I want to see the Greg Sankes and the Petitis of the world in the Big Ten go. Okay, we're going to share. We're going to share with the University of Memphis equally. So we're going to lose our $50 million. We're only going to go to $30 million, but we're going to start sharing that with the other schools. That'll never happen.
Well, they wouldn't be the first people to completely alter their business operation based on federal legislation, would they?
I want to see it to believe it. In my life, in college athletics, in your life too, because you're younger than me, we have never seen anything but the power schools remain the power schools. And usually it's traced to money, and they never give it up. I think that's a pipe dream. I can't believe it would ever happen.
Listen, nobody necessarily believes this would happen. This certainly isn't a slam dunk. There are some things here, however, that are important, and redistribution of some of the revenues would help others, and I think that the Title IX issue is something that could create some problems for the big-time schools going forward if they don't accommodate that. And again, all of this is driven by federal legislation and intervention by the Congress.
And I agree with
that.
that.
That's a slow-moving process, as we know.
Here's where I agree with the guy. I do think we have to have federal guidelines. Can't be different states the way it is now. That's right. Just crazy. Yep. That's one. 2, it will take the federal government to get involved. Well, whether or not there's going to be equal distribution of money as a whole, where the Big Ten schools and the SEC schools are going to give up what they've got, because I think it's more likely they pull away from the NCAA and form their own super league than ever that they would give up money and distribute it to the other poor schools. That I just don't ever see happening. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the NFL. First weekend was here. What did the TV ratings look like?
TV ratings, not surprising, really good. Couple of records, some stuff the best since 1998. CBS, of course, had the doubleheader on Sunday. They opened up with the doubleheader, averaging just north of 20 million viewers for the 2 games combined. The second, the late game, Detroit-Green Bay, 23.9 million. That is the highest since 1978. The entire first day was plus 15% versus last year. So a good opening day.
Wow, 15% up?
Yeah.
Man.
Look, that's great. You know, the old question, how high is up? Well, we're not there yet, apparently. Fox had an early single-header. Games on Sunday, that window did 17.9 million. That's the best since 2015, so the best in 10 years with an opening single-header on the opening Sunday. Sunday Night Football back, as we talked about last week, it was its 20th season. Did just under 25 million on Sunday night. It's the best in 3 years. So, you know, the big 3 broadcast networks out of the gate blazing on opening weekend. Now, the Thursday night game was the opener last week, and the rating was probably headed for a big record there, and then all of a sudden storms hit, and the game was interrupted for over an hour, and by the time they resumed play, it was, you know, you don't hold an audience for over an hour, so it was difficult, and that didn't do as well. The one interesting story from the weekend was YouTube, which delivered 17.3 million for the Friday night Chiefs-Chargers game. Now, people were looking at that to probably crack 20 million, so that was they failed to reach expectation. You might remember last year the Packers in Pittsburgh played on that Friday night on Peacock, so the YouTube audience delivery was 14% greater than the Peacock last year, still below expectations. And the YouTube effort on Friday night failed to reach what Netflix did on Christmas Day with an exclusive streaming offering of the NFL. They averaged 24 million back on Christmas Day.
Well, here's what I'd like to know. How many people have Netflix? How many people have Peacock? How many people have Prime? And you got to explain the YouTube thing to me, because I thought it was free on YouTube. I don't even know how you get YouTube. I'm actually, there's several people that I know that use YouTube instead of Xfinity Comcast now, because Xfinity Comcast, I'm telling you, I get a text every day from them about some sort of outage, and it doesn't work for a period of time. They never, by the way, if you lose a day or a half a day, they never credit your account. They still charge you full. It's like Comcast is begging you to leave them. A lot of people are going to YouTube. If I had YouTube, would I get that part as part of the package? How does all that work?
Well, you would have gotten a football game on Friday night no matter what by just simply going to the YouTube app. I mean, it was free. It was not part of the YouTube TV offering, which is a subscription service. YouTube is a gateway to many subscription services through its app. But in this particular case, this football game was free to anybody who went to the YouTube app on Friday night.
So you got to have the YouTube app, right? You got to have a smart TV for that, right? You can't just put it on your phone and then on your TV, can you?
Exactly. Well, yeah. I think you could put it on your phone and cast it to your TV if your TV can do that. But if your TV can cast, it probably is a smart TV and can get the app. So, yeah, look, technology is an interesting thing, but technology enables a lot of viewing options these days.
All right. Last thing, very quick. Arkansas's football game with the Tigers. It'll be an 11 o'clock game a week from Saturday. That game could be on ABC. It could be on ESPN 1 or 2. A lot of good options, a lot of good viewing opportunity for the country to see the University of Memphis, which could go a long way, by the way, in putting people's in their heads the fact that the Tigers might be worthy of a college football playoff spot. When's the last time they were on ABC?
Well, look, I was thinking, I do not believe they were on ABC since 2019, and I kind of know that well. That was the last year that I was at the local ABC station here, and we had that opening day game and did a 2-hour pregame show, and it was a big deal. And we had a good run at that time of 1 or 2 games per year, including the conference championship game. So, that's the best distribution that a Memphis football game can obviously get, is on the ABC television network, free over-the-air TV stations throughout the entire country. I'll be interested to see if that game is chosen, and it would, I think, be great for Memphis if they play in that time period.
He's our GM. He's our producer, our director. He is Joe Denk. Thank you much. We'll talk next Wednesday.
Thank you, David.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, baseball's front and center with Tim Doolin. He's next on Wolo and Friends.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up to a 2025 Ford Expedition or Explorer. Demo priced below market value. That's right. Demo price 2025 Fords below market value. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo price 2025 Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship before they're sold. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Once a year in the spring, Genesis Diamonds does something incredible, and it's happening this weekend. A $30 million 3-day spring extravaganza with extra savings store-wide, up to 35% off. One-of-a-kind rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, luxury timepieces. This is an exceptional buying opportunity from the area's premier jeweler, including prestigious designer lines you can't find anywhere else. Special pricing on all lab-grown and natural diamonds. It's this Friday through Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar at Perkins Extended.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I love talking baseball with Tim Doolin. He joins us now. There was a little bit of a controversy. I don't know why the Yankees and the Astros really dislike each other, but Aaron Boone, after a former Yankee, now Astro, named Taylor Trammell, hit a double, had the bat confiscated. We find out later they thought the bat was altered, that the lacquer on the top had been sanded off, I think, is what they said. So my first question for you, as a guy who has been around the game forever at the big level and with youth baseball, What does sanding the bat do? How does that give you an advantage? Good morning.
Well, just to enlighten you, I mean, years ago, players used to do what they called, they would bone a bat. So they would take like a large soup bone and sit at their locker, stick the handle between their legs, and then really push hard on the barrel of the bat just to try to get the grain of the wood harder. Okay, that was years ago. As far as sanding the bat, I think what really ended up coming to fruition in this matter is the sanding part was deemed by Major League Baseball as not a violation. However, the painting on the bat violated the Major League Baseball rules as far as, you know, what color the bat can be in certain areas on the bat. And so it was definitely ruled an illegal bat. And I think more so than anything, Boone was just strategizing. He was just trying to stir up controversy to get in the hitter's head, to get in the Astros' head, probably to deflect some of the media off of him and on to something other, to the fact that we're talking about it. So it wasn't anything to do with the texture of the bat. It was more so on the appearance, because what happens, Wolo, is like, if you have any light color on the barrel of the bat, it's very difficult at the speed that these balls are coming off the bat for infielders, outfielders, pitchers to see the true, you know, rotation and the trajectory of the ball when it comes off the bat. So
really?
That's pretty much what it was.
Huh. So it was kind of whitish.
Deal, but he wasn't, you know, what they would do years ago that was illegal is they would plug the bat. They would take a drill at the end of the barrel, drill down through the core of the barrel, probably about, 8 inches, and then they would pack it with cork.
Yeah.
And then they would put a plug at the end, sand it down, paint it, make it look just like the appearance on the regular part of the wood.
Didn't Sammy Sosa do that?
There you go. Every bat has to be certified by Major League Baseball before it's used.
What do they do now?
So
X-ray
obviously
it?
they missed that part of it, but that's what happened.
Do they X-ray them? Uh-oh. Have we lost him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I can.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you could hear all that.
Yeah, we heard all that. Do they X-ray the bats?
I don't know that they X-ray. They probably do to some sense, to some form of it. But it's more to make sure that the bat and the texture, and then it's not being plugged, whatever, is being altered.
All right, Kyle.
Weight's not an issue.
Weight's not an issue. Hardness of surface is not an issue. With this thing, it's the color, which makes it harder for the ball to be picked up by the defensive side, is what you've alleged. Okay, well, that makes more sense than anything else, because I couldn't figure out how sanding a bat made it harder to get more power or whatever it might be. Now, the bamboo, the cork sort of bamboos the ball. I got that part.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Kyle Schwarber hit his 50th home run last night. Cal Raleigh's got 53 in the American League. We used to see Sosa, McGuire, Bonds, all those guys were hitting 60s and 70 with Bonds. Is the lack of performance-enhancing drugs, has that brought it down? I give Schwarber a lot of credit. The Cubs got nothing for the guy. He's turned out to be just a fantastic player. There's no doubt about it. But why are the numbers down? Home runs.
I think, that's a great question. I think it's twofold. I think partly is obviously they're not, the performance enhancement, is pretty much nil. No one's using those, and the ones that do are getting caught. I think more so than anything, Wolo, and I think you would agree with this, is the change of the game to where hitters are only facing a pitcher 1 to 2 times at the most in the course of a game.
Right.
They're seeing 3 to 4 different arms, sometimes 5 in a game. Very difficult for a hitter. If you're facing a starting pitcher, you probably get 2 to 3. Back in the day, you got 3. And so you kind of can get an idea and a game plan on a pattern that they're going into. The more pitches you see as a hitter, and all hitting instructors will tell you this, the more pitches you see, the better and more comfortable you feel, and you get an idea of what you're going to sit on. And so I think it's that more than anything, to be honest with you.
It's interesting because there were 2 starters that had no hitters up until late in the 9th for the Dodgers, your Dodgers, this past week, and they both got broken up. In fact, the game with Baltimore, they went to the last out, and then they scored 4 runs and won the game. What the heck has happened there? That's so weird. I don't think I've ever seen within a week 2 no-hitters late in the 9th, both got broken up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It happens, and a lot of times when you bring in a reliever, he doesn't have it that night, and you're thinking this guy's going to close the game out, and you really don't have anybody to back him up because you're bringing in your closer. And then they light him up like a Christmas tree. And that's what happened in Baltimore. And it's very, like you said, it's very unique that you have a no-hitter going into it, and then you end up giving up 3 or 4 runs.
All right, baseball races coming down the stretch. Here we go. We've got less than 20 games. We are in the middle of September. Let's face it, the American League Central is decided. The Yankees, the Tigers are going to win that. In the National League Central, that's decided. The Brewers are 6.5 up on the Cubs. They're going to win that. National League East, the Phillies are in control, 9 games up. But there are still 3 races up for grabs. In the American League East, Toronto, New York, and Boston. The Blue Jays have a 3-game lead on the Yankees and the Red Sox. Do they win it?
I tell you what, man, that's an exciting division. I mean, obviously with 2 premier teams that we talk about and see every day, and then the Blue Jays who just quietly play consistent baseball, much like the Brewers. They do a lot of things right. They obviously were smart enough to get Vlad, his deal done prior to the season. He's having a great year. I got to believe that this is the Blue Jays' year to win it. I just don't know that the Yankees and Red Sox can make that big of a push. I mean, you look at, the last 10 games, Blue Jays are 5-5, Yankees 6-4, Red Sox 6-4. So I just don't know that they're going to be able to do that much better. And if the Blue Jays end up winning it, obviously they deserve it because it's a tight race.
All 3 make the playoffs most likely. In the West, Houston a 1-game lead over Seattle and a 2.5-game lead on Texas. Who wins that division?
Man, I tell you what, I'm picking the Mariners this year. I don't
Wow.
know why, but the Astros are 3-7 in their last 10 games. Not good. The Rangers 7-3. You can't count them out either. But for some reason, I like the story, and I like to see them. It'd be good for baseball to see the Mariners win that division.
All right.
It really would.
Last one, the West. The Dodgers do have a 2-game lead on the Padres. Do they hold on?
Well, I think they do. Both teams have not played well over the last 10 games, both going 4-6. The Giants are 7-3. They're not really in it, but they could play spoiler. And the Diamondbacks always have played spoiler. Rockies, they're just a 4A team. They're really not very good this year, losing 105 games already. So I think what's more interesting to me is what the Dodgers and Padres do to get ready for the playoffs. Obviously, I think both of them will be in it. One will be a wild card. One will win the division. I think another topic that we've talked about a lot on the show is the Brewers have played really consistent baseball the whole year. Now that they've pretty much sealed that division, can they continue to solidify, play consistent like they have all year going into the playoffs? Which is always the key. It's not the best team. It's the team that's playing the best when the playoffs start.
Well, the knock on them is they don't hit enough home runs to win in postseason. I've seen all the analytics on it. I still think if you're the best team in the regular season and you stay hot at the end, you got a chance. That's how I view it. We'll talk. Go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that we talk about this too. It's not the team that hits the most home runs in the playoffs. You're going to face great arms. I think it's the team that's playing a complete game. But anyway, go Tigers.
All right. Thank you, Tim Doolin. We'll talk next Wednesday. Tomorrow, we've got the usual Pete Prenica, then Bill Bender from the Sporting News, and Jarvis Greer always ends our Thursdays. So that'll be tomorrow. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. This last portion of the show brought to you by Memphis Public Links. Go to memphispubliclinks.com. You'll get all the info that you may need about particular courses. To book a tee time, it's just so easy that way. And get the latest on all the championship updates, because every course has a championship. And I got to tell you, talked to Mickey Barker yesterday. I saw Audubon. I love Audubon. I love that new course. I think the 18th hole is a classic. It's just in great shape. So is Pine Hill. Pine Hill's in as good a shape as it has ever been. Go check it out. You know Galloway's going to be good. Memphis Public Links. It's a great amenity for the city of Memphis. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.